is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and wow, this is only my second time ever watching White Chicks. White Chicks was a 2004 comedy film directed by Keenen Ivory Wayans. Of course, you gotta keep it all in the family. You follow Shawn Wayans and Marlon Wayans. They play FBI agents. Let that sink in and try to go along with this plot. Just right off that bat. Can you buy them as FBI agents? So, because the very beginning of the movie, they mess up royally. They get this case completely wrong, F everything up. So, of course, they get assigned to sort of shadow and bodyguard these two white chicks. And they're supposed to make an event, but because an accident happens and their faces get like a scratch on them, let's be honest, Marlon and Shawn Wayans get the bright idea to go under this insane process, like the highest level of makeup and prosthetics and whatever the hell they have to do to make these two black guys look like two white chicks. And it's absurd, it's ridiculous, but that's not why I'm saying that I don't care for this movie. The movie just isn't as funny as I think it wants to be, or even thinks it is. The very first time I saw this film, my best friend at the time, she sat me down and said, "Hey, you're gonna love this movie." This was probably a year or two after it came out, and she was like, "You're gonna love it." She loved it. And I sat there, and I don't remember if I laughed watching it with her, but she could definitely tell I wasn't really into it. She couldn't believe it. How could you not like this? So now, it's been so long later, I decided to give it another chance, and watching it now, I did get some laughs. So I can wholeheartedly admit right now, right this second, watching it now, I did laugh. I did find some moments funny. Most of those moments were because of Terry Crews, and Terry Crews only. But, for example, Shawn Wayans, he plays Kevin. He's, his main plot when he's undercover, when he's supposed to be a white girl, he starts to like this random reporter who, it's a black woman, and I couldn't help but wonder, why did you need this character sort of shoehorned in here? Nothing against the actress, and she's beautiful. It's not like that. It's just, you already have scenes of him sort of flirting with the white girl's white friends that they're supposed to be hanging around with, but because they're women, he's attracted to them even when he's a woman, and you have those scenes. You almost feel like, well, why doesn't he just start to fall for or date one of them? Wouldn't that make more sense? Especially Jennifer Carpenter, who has a few scenes with him where he's checking her out in the changing room, but she loses her shit because she thinks she's overweight. Holy hell. Talk about brutal. Or Busy Phillips. She has a side plot where she's trying to date this guy who already has a girlfriend, and all of that just seems like, what the hell is going on there? Of course, Marlon Wayans, you see he's married, and his wife is so far up his ass, not believing anything that he says, constantly thinks that he's cheating on him. There, at the beginning, when he's coming home from the bar with his brother, she specifically says, "I looked up how far that bar is from the house, and it took you 2 minutes longer than it said on the fucking online." And that was actually pretty funny because, let's be honest, that's how women are. They're quick to assume that you're up to no good and yet you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. So that made me laugh. Something where Marlon wasn't being over the top, wasn't yelling. Like the first scene where him and Shawn are dressed up like Spanish guys, and they're so stereotypical. They're so over the top. And I'm sitting there like, man, the film just starts, and Marlon's just yelling at the top of his lungs. Holy, like that's the Marlon Wayans that I despise because he's trying too hard. It's the scenes with his wife when he's just like, "Baby, what do you mean you've been waiting all night? It's 8 o'clock. Like, him being more toned down and relatable, those scenes are the most funny with him, in my opinion. So, Brittany and Tiffany are the two girls that they have to pretend to be. The makeup and the way that they look with the prosthetics and stuff, I mean, look. There are a couple of shots, especially one scene with Sean, him on the beach, where you go, you know what? They like maybe maybe they look like actual real people and women, and maybe I can kind of buy it if I'm far away or if I'm squinting or if I'm like, is that so and so? But when you're up close, they look horrific. They look like aliens. They look like creatures. There's no possible way that anybody could not only believe that they're the same girls that they're supposed to be, but they're best friends who just, I mean, they mentioned that maybe they got some work done, but they don't really question anything. Even the moments when Marlon and Sean are constantly acting black, if you want to say, like when they get angry, when people are whistling at them, or if rap music come on, they immediately start acting yo. It's like, oh, it's like they're the worst cops or FBI agents that you've ever seen. The one scene though when a song plays on the radio and it has the N-word in it, and the group of friends aren't comfortable with it at first, but they're like, well, come on, nobody's watching, and they think about it for a second, and then they get into it, and they're all saying the N-word. Like, that's hilarious. That's something that even me being black, like, I'm not offended. You know, you don't have to get offended over every little thing. I think if a joke like that is played up in the right way, it works, and it serves a purpose. And so I feel like more of jokes like that would have really made this movie go over the top. But I mentioned Terry Crews. Terry Crews plays this basketball player who he is obsessed with white women, because why not? So of course he falls in love with Marlon Wayans' white woman persona. And the scenes, like most of the scenes with him pursuing her, made me laugh. It was Terry Crews and his energy and his willingness to make himself look like a goddamn fool, but he sells it so well. I can't even begin to describe the scenes, like on the beach where he's wearing the Speedo and he stands over him, or the scene where he takes him out to the date and he hears that song, that really cheesy white girl song that Terry Crews recites perfectly. I mean, every once in a while, like I say, this is my second time watching the movie, but there's been a few times over the course of years where I've looked that scene up on YouTube because it's funny. It makes me laugh. It's one of the funniest parts of it. And the scene at the club where Terry Crews is trying to give Marlon ecstasy, I think, but the drinks switch, so he's on the ecstasy and he's going nuts, dancing and just losing his mind. That, like, just everything with Terry Crews is gold, is some of the only things worth watching. So I feel like that saves the movie for me. Everything else, a lot of the Wayans, especially Marlon, so over the top, so ingrating a little bit. I think that this movie could have been terrible. And I know that this movie has its fans. People love it. They want to see a sequel. Like, they're like, hey, this movie's one of the best. And that's cool. That's fine. I don't love it. I just love, or I really enjoy scenes in it. So, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of White Chicks? Well, what do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Or are you like me, where it's ultimately just okay? Has some good moments. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
Heat in my vein like vernacular. Cook up the beat with a spatula. Y'all are not ready for action. I'm smoking these rappers and feeling spectacular. Making it killing like massacre. Watch out, I'm whipping my wrist. Right on my city, been pissed, but I show them love. I'm not the one that's at risk. My homie told me that when people rise up against you, it's the sign of your destiny real. Fake ones been hating cause they know that one day you're making it. Jealousy's all they can feel. Plugging the phone, drifting my zone. Pain in the future when thinking alone.